Hello and welcome to Marketing Global Edition with me, Jasmine Montgomery.
And me, Piers Schuyler.
Piers, before we start, I need to say hello to someone who I know is listening. Dominic Graham de Montrose, our lovely ex-client from Deloitte, who I had lunch with yesterday. Dominic listened to all our podcasts whilst trekking to the base camp of Mount Everest.
Wow, that really is impressive.
And you know what he told me? He listens to us. He's listened to all our podcasts. Bless him. Thank you, Dominic. But he listens to them all on 2.5 speed. So we must sound like this.
I thought you talked too quickly at normal speed anyway, so he must be a genius to keep up with you at that speed. Well done, Dominic.
Well, he is a very intelligent chap. And may I say he has great taste in podcasts. So hi, Dominic.
Hello. Hi. Hello, Dominic.
Yeah. Right. So today we are talking about mascots. Did you know, I found this really fascinating, that brands are more likely to bring in a mascot during times of economic difficulty?
That's right. In times of financial uncertainty, it seems brands are dusting off their old characters or creating new ones to connect with the lovely consumer.
I think that is really fascinating. They certainly do seem to be making a comeback. So last year, there were practically no mascots in any Super Bowl ads. This year, they were all over the place. And there was a great Super Bowl ad for Instacart made by Kraft Heinz. And it was an integrated campaign for the delivery brand Instacart that brought together a wide range of Kraft and Heinz's companies. So, and all of its iconic brand ambassadors from over the years. So it had the Pillsbury Doughboy, Chester the Cheetah, the Jolly Green Giant, Mr. Clean, the Kool-Aid Man, and the Energizer Bunny, all coming together in one ad.
And many of you may have seen the Kellogg's chickens comeback in the great ad by Leo Burnett. It's called See You in the Morning, and it features a giant version of the Kellogg's cockerel walking through a bunch of people's mornings. They're all eating different brands of Kellogg cereals. I almost said it, but can I make a joke about a giant cockerel?
No, you most certainly cannot. Keep it clean. What I find really fascinating is, in particular, why is it that mascots work so well in a recession?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Jasmine. During economic hardships, consumers often seek comfort in the familiar. So mascots actually provide a sense of continuity and trust. They're like old friends reminding you of better times.
Not all of them. I'm sorry, I hate Ronald McDonald. I want to punch him in his weird, saccharine, cheery, clowny face. And the stupid Michelin Man. I mean, how did they decide that the analogy of motor tyres to a man's spare tyre around his fat body was a good idea and should represent the brand for over 100 years? Go for a run, you silly man. Try intermittent fasting.
I can't believe you're fat-shaming the Michelin Man. Anyway, crack on.
He actually arrived, it's quite interesting, because he actually arrived on the scene in 1894 as this like wine-swilling, chain-smoking old curmudgeon who wore a monocle. And then they made him give up booze and cigarettes, and now he runs around a lot and has a dog.
He must be one of the oldest mascots still in use, so how can you dislike him?
Oh, I really do. But the very worst of all is from Mucinex, Mr. Mucus, who is literally a ball of mucus with arms and legs.
Anyway, right, so you've mentioned some of the more annoying ones, but I can give you a better one. Duo Lingo's Duo the Owl. You've got to admit, he is brilliant.
Oh, yeah, I love that little guy. My son loves him. So Duo started as a simple app icon, but evolved into this like total social media sensation with this really quirky, persistent personality that uses love and, frankly, sometimes fear.
Yeah, he's become a pop culture phenomenon, actually.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, the Duo Lingo mascot is a little bright green owl who hounds you and like terrifies you and gives you all kinds of grief if you don't keep up your learning streak on the language app Duolingo.
Did you know that Duolingo actually described Duo's character as unhinged? I think that's like a really, really brave move, a good, brilliant move for a brand.
I mean, totally. You wouldn't see that in most, brand briefs. But he's gone totally viral on social because people love his darker side. And there are all these sort of user-generated memes of Duo the owl peeking into people's bedroom windows and generally acting like a deranged stalker, which is just not something you see in most brand guideline manuals. Make our mascot look unhinged.
Actually, Duo Lingo have been quoted as saying that what they did was they hired a junior talent who had really understood the platform and empowered them to experiment without too many layers of approvals, which is refreshing and a really terrific lesson for clients on how to manage social media in general. Bureaucracy is a passion killer for social.
I think that's so true. That's such a genius insight into how you get to that level of creativity. But Duo the owl now has 16.7 million followers on TikTok, which is more than Kim Kardashian.
He's such a character. Do you know he even faked his own death?
What?
Yeah, in February this year, Duolingo announced the death of Duo the owl. And the announcement was something like this. It is with heavy hearts that we inform you that Duo, formerly known as the Duolingo owl, is dead. Duolingo wrote in February 11th on a statement to Instagram, right? And they said, authorities are currently investigating this. Authorities are currently investigating his death, and we are cooperating fully. To be honest, he probably died waiting for you to do your lesson. But what do we know? Anyway, one day later, the company revealed Duo's cause of death was by sharing a video. They revealed the death by sharing a video of the owl getting struck by a Tesla Cybertruck and ascending through space to the gates of heaven. Brilliant, actually. Brilliant. And then on February the 12th, Dua Lipa wrote on X, "Till death duo part," alongside a broken heart emoji. And then finally, on the 24th of Feb, he made a surprise return and revealed to us that he'd faked his own death. Phew.
He is a genius. I mean, honestly, I love that little owl. But you know who I think also has really mastered the art of the mascot is the Japanese in general. Like so many of their towns and cities have these brilliant mascots.
Oh yeah, with their manga and anime, they really know how to create cute characters.
Yes, absolutely. So my favorite is a Japanese mascot for the city of Susaki, which was created in 2017. His name is Chitan, and he's described as an eternal 0-year-old baby otter fairy who wears a turtle as a hat. I mean, I just don't know how you can beat that.
No. Anyway, right. So, Jasmine, should all brands have a mascot?
No. I mean, I think it works well if you're a value brand or a fast-moving consumer goods brand, a soft drink, a food, a cereal. Perhaps not if you're luxury or particularly serious, business-to-business, premium. And, a mascot can become a distraction for a brand, really diluting the brand assets. And sometimes it goes wrong and becomes a magnet for haters.
Such as?
Well, there's something in the UK called Compare the Market. It's a UK price comparison website that has been successfully communicating its brand identity through the ever-developing life of the aristocratic meerkat, Alexander Orlov, whose tagline is simples, i.e. simple. So basically, Compare the Market has become Compare the Meerkat in a kind of joke that probably only a British audience would laugh at. But what is hilarious is that in 2010, his autobiography, A Simple's Life, The Life and Times of Alexander Orlov, actually outsold Tony Blair's memoirs on pre-orders. So that was all going really well, and everybody loves the meerkat. And these, they've got toys and they've got merch and so on about, Alexander the meerkat. But then recently they brought in this new character, Carl the Wombat, who has just provoked an outpouring of hatred online at how incredibly annoying he is. And there are now threads on social media about how everybody hates him and calls to kill him off.
Wow. Okay. But there is now evidence that mascots actually work really well.
Yeah, so there's a really fascinating new bit of research from a company called System 1 Group, and they tested consumers' emotional responses to Super Bowl ads over the past 4 years and found that commercials featuring brand characters consistently outscored celebrity spots for appeal, brand recognition, and commercial impact. And that's so interesting because conventional wisdom has always been that for the Super Bowl, you need a celebrity. But actually, brand characters, won, and they even demonstrated a higher significantly higher propensity to spike sales over 10 days.
Wow, I mean, that is quite incredible, actually. So, Jasmine, have you ever been involved in creating a mascot for a client?
Why, yes, I have, Mr. 𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐿𝐴. How very kind of you to ask me that.
Well, I thought I would. So, tell us the story.
Well, you know it perfectly well because you were involved too. So at Seven, we were asked to create a new brand of affordable telco, telephony of mobile, data and voice for the Singapore market last year. And the brand was all about luck, which, as you all know, is a very powerful theme in Chinese culture. So obsessed as we seem to be with naming brands after numbers, we at Seven Brands created the brand 8, 8 being the luckiest number in Singapore. And we brought it to life with 2 little characters called Bar and Bar, Luck and Lucky, a pair of mascots who've been used really to great effect on social media.
So one of our designers, John, did a lovely job of drawing them and really humanising them. I think that's what really makes mascots work. They can humanise a brand, making it more relatable and trustworthy, especially when consumers are cautious with their spending. So psychologically, mascots tap into our tendency to anthropomorphise, assigning human traits to non-human entities. This makes brands feel more approachable and fosters emotional connections.
Piers, 𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐿𝐴, I never thought I'd hear you talking about psychology and emotional connections. Are you feeling quite well?
I know, some big words in there as well, actually. So.
You just like saying anthropomorphise, don't you?
Anyway, it's no coincidence that in 2008, in the global financial crisis, if anyone remembers that, the Financial Times ran a campaign which featured a St. Bernard dog carrying a copy of the newspaper. So that mascot symbolised reliability and support, aiming to highlight the publication's essential role during economic downturns. So there's a good example from the FT.
Yeah, it's a great example, and I'm definitely buying the idea that people like mascots during a downturn. But unusually, I'm actually much more cynical than you. So I don't just think it's because they are nostalgic and anthropomorphic, much as we love that word. I think brands love mascots in a downturn because mascots are quite cost effective for the brands. So unlike celebrities or influencers who can be expensive and risky and need a trailer and makeup artists and hair and a car, mascots are owned by the brand and they can be used across various platforms without additional fees. So they're less expensive, they're less diva-like, and they won't get caught posting offensive things on their social media.
Actually, the whole usage thing is brilliant for mascots.
Yeah, totally. You have control over your mascot.
Yeah, you do. Anyway, it's also now become pretty easy to create a mascot. So obviously brand agencies can create them for you, like us. But if you don't have that kind of budget, there are all sorts of AI tools out there that can help you create a mascot now.
And if you are considering creating your own mascot, there are some key things to think about, really. I would say 4 things. First of all, you need to define your brand's personality because that will be your mascot's personality. Are you friendly? Are you adventurous? Are you professional? Are you quirky? Have you got a dark side? You need to choose the right style and decide whether you're going to be kind of cartoonish or minimalist or realistic or manga-like. It's probably worth incorporating your brand colours and giving your designer, your brand colour palette. And then you need to think about versatility. So you need a mascot that can be used across various platforms, all sorts of different shapes and sizes and orientations, landscape portraits, etc., and different marketing campaigns. So there you go. There's my tip.
Okay, well, what I was going to say was, do you think we need one for 7?
Goodness, no. We're far too busy creating them for our clients. I just don't think we have time.
But if we did, what would it be?
Well, maybe, I don't know, because we're very international, maybe some sort of Nat Geo explorer wearing a solar topi and traveling the world with stickers from hotels in exotic places all over his suitcase.
I was going to go for something much simpler, like a human like 7 with anime-like eyes who spouts clever sound bites. How about that?
I think we need to fire ourselves immediately.
Agreed. Let's stop before we get into any more trouble.
All right, that's all we have time for. Thank you very much for your company. See you next week.
Thanks very much. See you next week. Bye, Dominic.
Bye. Bye for now. And now for a bonus feature, you can listen to Piers try to say the word anthropomorphic.
Anthropomorphic?
That word. Anthropomorphic.
Anthropomorphic. Anthropomorphic. Right.
Let's just change it to a really human-like little 7.
Thank you.
Okay.
Marketing Global Edition is sponsored by 𝐒𝐴D𝐧𝐧𝐬, the ad generator for small businesses that serves you effective and affordable ads in seconds. And by 7 Brands, the international advertising and branding agency that has worked with clients around the world from Coca-Cola to Facebook.